and I'm starting. It's 6:03 and I'm making the announcement that the historic board is canceled. I'm the vice chair on that committee, and for the next committee, we're going straight into the planning commission meeting. For the regular meeting. Talking. Who's talking? Oh, there's okay. Okay. So this is a hybrid meeting. The public participation by Zoom or in person. The planning commission will be held in public meetings in person with the virtual option of public participation based on the availability of the San Juan Bautista Utility Zoom public fencing technology for the virtual public participation. However, we make no representation or warranty of any kind. Oh, yeah, it's fun. Okay, well, that's already. Warranty of any kind regarding the accuracy or the reliability of the availability of the use of this platform in this manner, participation by members of the public. This meeting, it's at the only assumed county enforcement may not be available at all meetings. If you wish to make public comments remotely during the meeting, please use the Zoom registration link below. With that, I'm going to call this meeting to order at 6:05. Can you take roll call, Norma?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Commissioner Tony Correa,
Yes.
Chair Yolanda Delgado,
Present.
Vice Chair Jackie Morris Lopez.
Present.
And it is noted that Commissioner David Maderos is absent at this time, and I will be looking to see when he joins, and we'll make note of that at that time.
And as of right now, he's not excused because he's not told anybody that he can't make it. So as of right now, he's not excused. Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Jackie, could you do the pledge of allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic.
Okay. With that, is there any public comments on this item? That item, the not on the agenda, will be within the subject matter jurisdiction of the planning committee. I have no one here. A gentleman's nodding no. Do you have anybody on Facebook or on the Zoom?
Here on Zoom, anyone who has joined us tonight, thank you for attending the meeting. This is a time for public comment. Items not on the agenda. If you would like to speak on that, please raise your hand using the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. And your hand will be raised, you'll be brought in, and you will be given the time that you unmute yourself. You will be given the amount of time, I believe, which will be announced at the time that it comes. 3 or 5 minutes, Chair?
We're gonna go with 3.
3. Okay, 3 minutes to speak. So now is the time to raise your hand. And at this time, Chair, we have no hands raised.
We have no one in the chambers. So let's go to item 3, informal projects. At the moment, there are not any project presence, but I'm confused because you have annexation. Is that going to be a project or what is that?
That's just an information item for the commission.
Okay, perfect. With that, let's move to consent agenda 4. A, B, C, and D, approving the affidavit of posting of the agenda, approving affidavit of the posting of the mailing public hearing notice, approved minutes of the August 2nd, 2022 meeting, approved minutes of the October 4th, 2022 meeting. Does anybody want to pull anything from those minutes or the public? I'm sorry. Norma, anybody on Zoom want to pull any of the minutes?
If anyone would like an item pulled, please use the raise hand button at this time and request which item it is. There is no hand raised, Chair.
nor in chambers, so any of the commissioners, Mr. Korea?
I just noticed that the October 4th minutes are not in the package. Isn't that usually, aren't they usually included for approval?
They are, Chair, Commissioner. And I don't know if they were in the first ones or in the second ones, but I thought I'd seen them. Yeah, I have mine in mind because they updated the agenda, but I have mine in our,
Oh,
did you update his? Is he-
All the commissioners got an updated packet. I have the October 4th minutes in my packet.
that could be
Okay.
okay.
Yes, Chair, I have a copy that says bold print draft minutes for October 4th on the amended package that we got after the first.
Commissioner Korea, do you want a copy of that before we proceed into?
no,
That's-
that's fine.
Okay. Did you get a updated agenda or not?
Yeah, I may not have just pulled it up.
Okay. All right. With that.
Oh, sorry, it's very okay, tricky. I propose a motion to approve all of the items A through D on consent agenda, item number 4, letters A through D.
We have a
Second,
We have a second. Could you pick a roll call, Norma, please?
Thank you. Commissioner Korea,
yes,
Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Vice Chair Morris Lopez.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously by members present.
Thank you. With that, Brian, you need to discuss this, or do we have to allow public comment on 5 because it was?
Yeah, what we'll do for item 5 is a sort of a 5-step process, and I'll just outline it real briefly here. First, we want to open the public hearing on item 5. I'll summarize the hearing status and the error with respect to the agenda packet. And then we'll state that this item will be the subject of a special meeting on November 10th, 6 p.m. And we'll then ask if anybody's in the chambers that cannot come back to the meeting and would like to speak. And then we'll state that the item will be continued to a special meeting of the Planning Commission on September 6th. And once you open item 5A or introduce item 5A, then I believe that Commissioner Morris Lopez will have to step down. So that'll be of her own volition. And
Brian, what day did you said October 5th? 6th?
October 6th, 6 p.m.
No.
I mean, I'm sorry, November 6th. Yeah,
Okay, I was
sorry.
gonna say,
Next Thursday.
That's the
November
10th.
I'm sorry,
Yes, I
November.
was gonna
I'm
say
sorry,
yes.
boy, messed up. November 10th. We'll cover that and as we go along, we'll get it right.
Let's just get this, yeah, 6 p.m. is fine.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so the special meeting will be November 10th at 6 p.m. here and Zoom and only this 5A. So,
That's correct. So you want to go ahead and introduce
Yes.
the item
yes.
and then we'll open the public hearing.
Okay, I'd like to open up 5A to the public for any comments.
We'll introduce the item.
Okay, I'm sorry. Consider a use permit to allow an expansion of a non-conforming single home resident in the I industrial zoning district via a use accessory dwelling ADU on the property located at 830 Mission Vineyard Road, APN 002-550-019. The new applicant is Oliver Griss. And the CEQA, this project is exempt from CEQA for CEQA guidelines, section 15303, new construction or conservation of small structure.
And so I'll
okay. This is Vice Chair Morris Lopez. I did point out to Assistant City Manager Brian Fouch that I would recuse myself from discussion or opinion on this item as it is a project that is a family member. So I'll be stepping down tonight. Thank you.
Okay, we'll wait till Commissioner Morris Lopez leaves the room and then we'll resume. Okay, so the record shows that Commissioner Morris Lopez has left the room and we can resume. This item, before we actually open the public hearing, is going to be continued to a special meeting of the Planning Commission on November 10th at 6 o'clock, next week on Thursday. And the reason is because we did not publish the staff report and the agenda material in the original packet sent to the Planning Commission, and then we corrected that over the weekend. However, following that, on Monday, we distributed the packet to the Planning Commission. The Brown Act states that we have to do both of those things at the same time. And because we didn't, then now we cannot proceed with this to its conclusion. And so then with that understood, then the chair can open the public hearing.
I will at this time open the public hearing for 5A.
And then if there's anybody in the audience that wishes to speak on this item that cannot come back to the meeting on November 10th and wishes to speak this evening, the opportunity to do that.
I have no one in the forum here to speak. No one's raising their hand.
Okay,
Yep.
we do have a hand raised here on Zoom. And so anyone else who would like to speak tonight, please raise your hand. And as noted by staff, this is request is that if you're unable to attend the November 10th meeting, and when I bring you in, I'm going to start with Cara. When I bring you in, once you unmute yourself, Brian, is the allotment for a public hearing 3 or 5 minutes on this item?
I'm going to give 3 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So Cara, you're coming in and your 3-minute time will start once you're unmuted.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure that the public hearing is going to stay open and that we'll have an opportunity to comment on November 10th.
Yes, that's correct. The hearing will be continued open.
Okay, and one thing that was unclear to me was the actual square footage of the ADU. Because in the on the plans, it said that they were the idea, or I think the preliminary idea was to create an ADU that was under 1,000 square feet. And I think it ended up being 12,000 square feet. If I'm not 12,000, 1,200 square feet, if I'm not mistaken. So that was unclear to me. And then also what was unclear to me, and I can raise these points again on the 10th if I'm available. Normally under the ADU, the state statute and our municipal code dealing with ADUs, it mentioned that the height is to be 16 feet, but in the report, it mentioned that it could be 18 feet high. So that was kind of confusing to me. And then just for interest, I'm wondering what the square footage is of the existing house, because it seems that this one is quite large. And so those would be my 3 questions, which I'll wait until November 10 for the answers on those. Thank you.
Thank you, Cara. And right now I am bringing in Irvin. Irvin, if you unmute yourself, your 3-minute time will start. You're still muted. Irvin, you're still muted. Once you unmute yourself, your 3-minute time will start. Okay, I see you've lowered your hand. I'm moving you back over. And at this time, we have no other hands raised.
Okay, thank you. Did Irvin put his hand down and not want to speak?
Irvin did put his hand down. I did not do that for him or her. And so that indicates that they no longer are requesting to speak.
All right. Okay, with that, can we bring in, are we, anybody
Yes.
here have any? Nobody? Do you have any? I don't have any.
No.
So we can bring in Vice Chair Lopez, Morris Lopez.
No, actually, what we need to do is we need a motion to continue this with the public hearing open until the special meeting of the Planning Commission on November 10th at 6 p.m.
Okay, now that we have that, there's only 2 of us. Can we still pass it? The 2 of us?
Yes,
Okay. I make a motion to table this to.
no,
Not table.
continue the public hearing open.
Continue the public hearing
Thank
open
you.
on November 10th, 2022 at 6 o'clock for a special meeting for 5A. Do I have a second?
Second,
Can we have a roll call on it, please?
Yes. Motion, Commissioner Tony Correa,
yes,
Chair Yolanda Delgado,
Yes.
and it is noted that Vice Chair Morris Lopez has recused, so the 2 remaining have majority unanimous vote.
Okay.
I-
Now we can bring her back in.
Yes. I'll go get her.
Okay, thank you.
I do want to note that Irvin has raised their hand again, but unfortunately the motion has been made for the item to be continued. So any comments taken on that has passed.
Okay. Sorry,
Written,
Irvin.
Brian, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Not only oral testimony, verbal testimony, but written testimony can also be received. So for anyone who is here in attendance that wants to submit written testimony can submit that to staff. Is that correct, Brian? And it'll be put into the record? How are
Yes,
you?
that's
Okay.
correct. People can submit written testimony up and prior to and up until and during the Planning Commission meeting.
Perfect. So if Irvin wants to be able to do that, they can do that. So noted for anyone who is in attendance tonight that that is also an option for you. So
Okay.
thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Norma. Keeping me straight. Okay, the next one is informational items on the 6A. You want to start with that one first? Do you have any? 6A is the annexation application for Christopher Ranch.
Yes, we do have, staff has received an application for annexation of the Christopher Ranch, and we are holding that application. We are not processing yet. As everyone knows, we are in the midst of doing a community plan where annexations are especially in the forefront. And the annexation process is complicated and long, requiring many steps. And so what we're intending to do now is just to explain to the commission and the public that we do have an application here, and the applicant is in the audience and is available to speak. And I will retrieve the
Are you going to post his application?
yes, I'm going to retrieve the application itself so we can look at it.
Okay.
And I'll share my screen here. Right? And so this is the proposed annexation and I'll let Bob go ahead and take it away.
Is the microphone on? We're not catching any sound on Zoom.
All right. Again, I'm Bob Fulton with the Christopher Ranch Project. I appreciate you allowing me to come in and briefly tell you what we have conceptually in mind. We put in the application now because the city, as we all know, is in the process of updating the sphere of influence. And I feel it's important for everybody to know what our goals and intentions are and to do all these things up front. We did the Rancho Vista project back in about 2016, I believe, which this is kind of a continuation of, as all the utilities are there, the streets and all of those things. And personally, I'm very proud of Rancho Vista. I think we created a very good project. We did it with a lot of input from residents in the city. It got approved and Meritage was the builder on it. And for family reasons, I was gone for a couple of years. When I drove into Rancho Vista, I was very thrilled with the layout and the amenities and everything. But I've got to say, I was disappointed with how much stucco on the side. The city has some great design guidelines. And when we went through that process, I was pretty well under the impression that the builder would be held to those guidelines. And, I guess we all live and learn as we go along, but as we go forward on this, those guidelines aren't going to be guidelines. We're going to have to get them into conditions of approval because it should have looked a little different. Although the layout is great, amenities are great. Anyway, that was Rancho Vista. As you know, you guys have been looking at me in the audience for all these meetings for months now and wondering, who is this guy? What's he doing? Well, my job is to sit and listen to everybody at these meetings and hear what is important to the residents of San Juan Bautista, what's important to the planning commissioners, the city council and staff. And a lot of it is very similar to what was important 8 years ago. Things that came up were affordable housing, open space, circulation, all sorts of things like that. And what our intent is for this project, the map that you have, it shows what I heard at the Charettes and everywhere else is keep that hillside open. And it's going to stay open, the hillside here. I heard it's understandable to develop the residential on the flat part, the continuation of what's already out there. But we need to have affordable housing out there. Last time the affordable condition was contributing funds to affordability. We're going to get some affordable bids on this project. This is not going to be just pay a fee and let somebody else figure it out. So that is our intention. We don't have a complete way. We do know that we are going to continue Labanino Drive over to Larios Drive at the back. And one of the things that's come up quite a bit, I've heard, is the problem of trucks coming down to the roundabout and getting stuck. I think this will give an opportunity for those trucks to make a right and get over to Larios Drive by the freeway. So I'm open to suggestions on all of these items that we're thinking. There's also drainage problem at the back of Rancho Vista right now. And I've actually been working with the city manager a little bit on who I knew that was building that and what they were doing. So I know that that's in process and that they're working on it, but that is something that has to be corrected. And as we go down the road, this will allow that to be corrected. We'll have the circulation, we'll improve the drainage, keep the hillside open. And then we have the Labanino barn, and that's going to retain. That barn's been here forever. And it's important to keep that. And I believe the Christopher Ranch House is too. It's got some special history to it that I think make it important. One of the things that I'd like to do, back to the affordable, is I heard, and I talked to Barbara from the school district, there's a real lack of housing for teachers in this area, for firefighters, and for police. And I think you should prioritize who gets to buy the affordable housing. And I think that those are part of what the list should look like. This is who it gets offered to first. So I'm trying to pay attention and listen to what I hear from everyone as to what we should do. And I'm easy to contact, and I am open to listening as we go through this process, what you guys really want to see out there. So I want to be proud of it at the end. There's some things that I don't think are completed yet around Rancho Vista and the roundabout and a few other things that we had talked about, such as welcome to San Juan Bautista type monuments and those stuff. So there's things that are incomplete, I feel. Anyway, I'm sorry to take up as much time as I did here. I'm glad this is a short meeting tonight, but that's where we're coming from. And I just wanted to come in and let you guys know, and we'll get from there.
Do we have your numbers, Melissa?
I can give it to you.
Okay, you can, Brian will give it to me later.
Yeah, the full application with contact information is in the planning commission packet.
Okay.
So that email address and phone number.
It's a cell phone and by email and very accessible. Look forward to the input from you guys and what we could do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just an information item, so no action is necessary.
So we have a historic preservation consultant, PSA or 6B.
Correct. And you may recall at your last meeting, there was a discussion regarding the city's desire to bring someone on board who would be able to assist staff with handling historic preservation or historic resources in terms of how we review them and assistance to applicants and staff regarding materials and designs and so forth to comply with the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation of historic resources and properties. And so we did pass this along to the city council with a recommendation that the city council enable city manager to contract with a qualified person. We didn't specify a person at that time, but we have been in communication with Ms. Clovis for quite some time, and we are confident in her expertise. And so we want to bring this to the planning commission for your information so that you know that a professional services agreement will be executed with we call it Margaret Clovis for these services, and her resume and the outlines for the agreement for professional services is attached to that information in the staff report. So you'll be able to see exactly what it is we'll be asking her to do. Really basically, it's all about providing general services around making sure that our historic preservation ordinance and our general plan policies with respect to historic preservation are executed in a professional way.
And did we not have to send out a job posting for 3 people? Did we not have to do that, or just?
No, not for this one. Yeah,
was-
I know that was a comment that the planning commission and the HRB had made previously. The city council authorized us to do a sole what's called based on a unique qualifications of the person that we are hiring, and to set a cap of $50,000 up to the maximum the city manager is able to authorize. If it turns out that we go beyond that amount for authorization by the city manager for this, then we will go through the RFP process. But as it stands now, this is the consultant that we believe will best serve the city at this point.
And then I'm excited about 6C.
Chair, this is Vice Chair Morris Lopez. Are we allowed to comment on the informational items, or are we just gonna be presented with the information?
Well, it is just information. And if you'd like to make comments, that's fine.
I guess probably going back to the first presenter, Mr. Fulton. He showed up. Thank you for coming. I'm glad that you did point that out yourself, Mr. Fulton and Brian, that you have submitted an application to the city with the caveat that you know that we're still in the process of working out our urban growth boundaries and our sphere of influence. And also the charrettes, the city decided to pull back with some more feedback from the community that we needed to kind of go back to the drawing board. I like what I hear about affordable housing. That specific group, it's really hard to get teachers in the community when they have to commute in. So I think that's really, a great idea. The other thing that I'm really interested in is that we have a community of senior citizens. And it's been brought up to me by my constituents and neighbors, that there isn't anything that's affordable for seniors. And unless you bought your house 60 years ago, there's not a chance that you're going to buy a home now. And I think that that's another group of individuals that we really have to start looking at because they've been here, maybe missed the home ownership market for whatever reason. And now it's just getting really extremely expensive. We do have senior communities coming into San Benito County, but they're no way affordable. You're looking at homes in a community, senior community in Hollister that are starting upwards of $650, $750. And I don't think that that's affordable. Are you looking at that as well as a possibility with your development?
Let me address a couple of things here. One of the first things I wanted to do was specifically seniors for this project. And one of the things that I found out is that
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we really cannot hear anyone except for Brian. So we need people to speak directly into the mic, tight, perfect. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Did you hear a lot of nothing? Sorry.
Well, I think,
Mr. Fulton heard. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, audience. Anyway, I was just asking about the special group of senior citizens and affordable housing, maybe in that project that Mr. Fulton down the road will present. Right now, we know it's informational, waiting on a couple of decisions, but I just wanted to pose that question.
yes, and I initially was thinking it should be all seniors. What I have found out is that the medical support for senior citizens in this county is lacking. And part of it's lacking because we don't have EMTs that can live in this area. They can't afford it. So instead of saying strictly just senior housing, I was kind of influenced to let's do it as affordable housing. And then you target within that the groups that you're trying to get into the affordable project. So it may be seniors, it may be teachers, maybe EMT, it may be firefighters. Doing strictly a senior project seemed like, especially with the San Juan Oaks project being dedicated to seniors. And I don't know how much of that will be considered affordable for any income level. So I'm not real familiar with that part yet, but we were steered away from looking at just senior housing. But yes, I agree. We need to have places for our parents to live when they can no longer stay in the houses that they're in. So we are considering doing part of it as maybe a rental for senior housing, but I really push for affordable housing. I'm very fond of things, Habitat for Humanity. I've worked on those projects. They're wonderful. They get people that build their own houses. They move into these houses and they are invested in the community. They're invested in their neighbors. They make a great project. I believe Riverwalk over in Hollister is very similar to that. But yeah, we're very open to ideas and I think we're on the same path. You're welcome.
Thank you.
How about Mr. Commissioner?
Ms. Commissioner Freer, do you have any comments with the informational items?
No, I also was pleased to hear Mr. Fulton's comments about some of the mistakes that were obviously made on Rancho Vista and his desire to correct though. And I do appreciate him coming forward to tell us what his plans are and his thoughts and his concepts. And so thanks, Mr. Fulton.
and that roundabout, when it was built, I said they should have went into Rancho Vista because the trucks are gonna get hit and no one listened to me. They goes, they're gonna go around it, get stuck on that side. And they said, oh, just a woman. That's,
Well,
because they get stuck.
I agree. In the conceptual part of that roundabout, it was not going to be as it is right now.
I know.
Those
And there
are
was,
changes that happened later.
exactly, there was no one following the ball or anything. And Jackie wasn't on the planning commission at the time. It was Grills, Shirley, David and myself. And I said, they're gonna hit that side and get stuck. And they are.
And I also think the roundabout should have something in it welcoming people to San Juan Bautista. And, I would love to see an arch with a bell in it, maybe.
That has been presented.
So anyway,
And then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And Rachel Ponce was saying, I don't want to misquote her, but they were saying about gateway. We had a meeting about gateways.
okay.
And when Jackie was not on the planning commission as well at that time. So then COVID hit.
Well, Richard Ponce was very influential on helping me with Rancho Vista. I think the world of that man. I'm so sorry we don't have him.
Yeah, we lost it again.
Thank you.
I think.
And Chair, we do have a hand raised here in Zoom. I was looking at past agendas and stuff. We have not typically had public comment during discussion items or information items. So I just want to share the information with you that we do have a hand raised.
Yeah, yes, we hadn't, and I think Mara already spoke about this on the ADU, and it was just a public hearing. Jackie and I just spoke about it, and I did not ask for public hearing. So with that, there, right there, what do you think?
I think it's at your pleasure, but I may have strayed, but I feel that as commissioners, we do have a little bit more leeway in terms of acknowledging anyone that comes and presents their project or anything that we should acknowledge, and we have that privilege to have a brief discussion. I don't believe it's open for public discussion at this time.
Yeah, I don't think, I didn't want to do it, but
Yeah.
you're absolutely right now.
Thank
We've
you.
never let anybody.
Thank you,
comment.
though, for those that are interested, but sorry, we're gonna move on.
Thank you. So, sorry, Carl.
And if the intention is to talk about historic preservation, the city council had an extensive discussion prior to authorizing the city manager to contract for services.
Yeah, this, this is just information. And now let's, any more questions? Tony, do you have anything to say about anything? Nothing? Commissioner Correa?
Nope.
Okay. So let's move on to the permanent local housing grant, the ADU rehabilitation and homeless services.
Yes, I'm going to share my screen again so that people can have an opportunity to see a brief PowerPoint on the permanent local housing grant. Let's see here. Apparently I did not pull it up. I thought I did. Yes, it's in your packet. I'm just going to retrieve it now so we can all share. Oh, here we are. Okay. So let me see if I can do it. Here we go. Okay, so this has a sort of an interesting trajectory, if you will. You know, as you know, the Planning Commission and through the chair and vice chair have been very interested in safety and security for accessory dwelling units over the past several months. And through an ongoing, process of discussion, did pass along a resolution to the city council recommending the city council establish a program addressing these particular concerns for accessory dwelling units. And then a couple of months later, we had an opportunity to talk to San Benito County about permanent local housing allocation program funds that the city had not been taken advantage of. And that this year we were about to lose $75,000 in permanent local housing allocation funds. And so we quickly got moving and prepared an application for permanent local housing allocation program funds consisting of some dollars to support accessory dwelling unit safety and security improvements, assistance to low-income renters, maybe a variety of kinds of assistance to ADUs. And so, and also funds during the second part of the program. It's a 5-year-long program. The first 3 years are dedicated almost entirely, a little over $300,000 to ADU support. And then the remainder, about $200,000 for homeless services. So they're sort of companion projects, I think, if you will. So what I'll do is I'll just simply go through the slides and explain what the permanent local housing allocation program is all about. I will, the deadlines for expenditure of funds is for 2009, just keep this in mind, for the 2019 funds, the award will be in 2023 and the deadline for expenditure is 2024. So we have a couple of years for the first $35,000. And then in year 2, the award will be in 2024 with the expenditure deadline of 2025. And then in the fall, then in April for the third year, April 2025, we'll have to expend funds in 2026. And for the last 2 years, April 26th is the deadline, award deadline, and then we'll have to spend money in a year. And then the final year of homeless services support, the award would be in 2027, and we would expend funds in 2028. So it's a 5-year-long program, and expenditures follow along every single year. So, you know, as you may know, the Senate bill enacted in 2017 as part of a 15-bill housing package established a $75 recording fee to give for local governments to apply to receive funds basically through a recording fee collected by the county recorder annually and then given back to local government for the purposes for which these funds are eligible. And San Juan Bautista, over the 5-year period that I just explained, is eligible for over $450,000. And so it's quite a bit of money, and we are intending to use it for good purpose. And so in year 1 and year 2, the allocation applications were not submitted. We can apply for funds now at the end of November for year 1 through 3. It says here October 31st, but the state extended that deadline to the end of November. Year funds not applied now will revert back to the state. Of course, we don't want that to happen. And then the application must be submitted with a 5-year plan horizon. And so that's what we're intending to do. We almost have the application completely written at this point. And then, so with respect to funding, these are the funding amounts year over year. $75,000, $114,000 the second year, $122,000 and change for 2021 for a total funding that we're applying for this year of a little over $300,000. Those funds will all be geared for the accessory dwelling unit support program. And then the estimated funds during the remaining 2 years will bring us to that total of $455,000, $455,999. And so you can see here the eligible activities from which we there was some discussion about, you know, whether at the city council regarding whether we could underwrite mortgages or do a number of different things to help owner occupied housing, and city council considered the commission's resolution, and then with respect to these available funds, decided to focus on ADUs and assisting persons with at risk of homelessness. And this is an ongoing program that we have through along with the San Benito, along with San Benito County with respect to homeless services. So you can see here years 1, 2, and 3, the total amount that will be available for ADU compliance. And then in years 4 and 5, the $71,585 in both of in each of those 2 years. And so the proposed ADU program will give homeowners a grant to improve non-compliant ADUs. As you know, our accessory building unit ordinance has an amnesty provision, which I think is very progressive. It will allow us to rectify health and safety code, building code compliance issues without regard to zoning compliance for those ADUs. That's what the ordinance allows us to do: address health and safety violations, help low-income homeowners and renters, and increase the supply of affordable housing for these particular units. And then there will be some program activity costs that will be funded as well. With respect to inspections, anytime you do a resident program, you need to qualify the people who are receiving the funds, and you also have to carefully look at what the money is being used for. So there will be budgets and inspections going in. There will be counseling sessions with the renters and owners. And then there will be monitoring, and then there will be inspections following construction to make sure things are compliant. And then in future years, 2023 and 2024, we would continue the compliance program because those funds would that program would actually not just die at the end of the third year. As I mentioned, the expenditure deadline for the first year is 2024, for the second year is 2025, and third year 2026. So these funds will be available for a few years after when the homeless services portion kicks in. So we would provide homeless supportive services in rapid rehousing, rental assistance, outreach, and operating and capital costs for shelters and navigation centers. And so that's kind of an overview of the PLHA grant. We're really sort of fortunate to hear about this program right on the heels of the commission's discussion and city council's discussion about accessory dwelling units. And of course, as I said, we consider the homeless services to be a companion program for accessory dwelling unit support. So that's the staff report for the PLHA grant. Any questions?
Any questions, Commissioner Correa?
No,
Vice Chair Lopez, Ms. Lopez?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Question, Brian, it seems like a pretty comprehensive program. You said that there's costs built in for monitoring, application processes, outreach, etc. Who in general will be overseeing all of that? Is it the city of San Juan staff?
Well, my guess is that we are going to need help, of course. As you know, our bandwidth is thin. So we will be contracting for administration of the program. And whether we contract with another government entity like the Housing Authority, for example, is a good question. We haven't really developed the administrative portion of the program yet. We're just in the process of submitting the application for funds.
Okay. So I guess my concern, maybe it's too early, but I'll bring it up, is that if you have to contract out, is there another subsidy funding source that can pay for that contractor's fees, or are we gonna deduct that from the money that you're allowed.
Yeah, that was built into the program costs.
And then my other question is, what's 120% of our median income in the area? I noticed that kept popping up 120%.
I didn't understand the question.
There was in the app, in the slide, there was reference to the median income of 120%.
Oh, as an eligible activity?
Right.
Yes.
So what is that? Do you have a ballpark figure?
I don't have that at, right off the top of my head. I don't know the area median information.
Thank you.
Interesting. This money is to help the ADU, the funding, and we're probably gonna have to pay 200,000 to resource it out. Like Mrs. Guevara said, we're top heavy. We have the city manager, we have you, we have Assistant Veronica. Can we send you to school to get educated on this instead of always resourcing and contracting out?
Who's talking? Who's talking?
This is David, Commissioner Darrow.
Yes, Chair Maderos had joined us tonight at 6:43, right at, or yeah, 6:43, right when Brian opened this item. And I believe what he's requesting is we don't see the commission members. We're seeing Brian right now at this point
Yeah.
on Zoom. So I see he's working on that though.
So the median income for San Benito County is $95,836. That is the area median income. So I have to explain about programs like this. If we're going to offer funds for rehabilitation, it requires an exhaustive review of applications, and those, regardless of the money that we get as grant, whether it's a block grant or whether it's a permanent local housing assistance grant, any kind of grant where we're actually offering assistance to people with a grant, there are going to be administrative costs, and there will be a need to evaluate applications that we receive for these funds, because that's our public trust. And there are costs involved in that, without a doubt. There's just no way to go around that. Now, it's not a matter of knowledge or expertise. It's a matter of how much time is invested in being able to actually do that consultation with applicants, handle the contractors, manage the administrative portions of the grant program, and then to do the reporting that's required. And so it's an extensive process, and I can't deny that there will be, usually grant programs involve, some percentage, used to be 8%, I think it's probably 15% at this point, of grant funds available for administration. So I expect that there will be something similar involved in that. But then the benefit is we get to help people who really need help.
Yeah, we only have about 1,000 people, and I see contracting out less for the people of San Juan, and that's what my concern is.
You're having a difficult time hearing.
David?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Myself, in particular, we contract, as some of the public have said, we're top heavy. And here you guys want to hire somebody. I mean, we're only 900 people, 1,000 at the most. And we're already spending 50,000 for a person for historical. And I don't know, maybe I don't understand that.
Well,
I don't perceive to see 1,000 applications for the ADU thing.
well, you just have to keep in mind here.
I may be
and
10.
I agree with you. You have to keep in mind that
I
all
thought
of
that's
them,
why we hired you, to help Dawn.
absolutely.
That's where I'm seeing, and I'm not putting you on the spot, and I don't want to be confrontational, but I see less money going to the public in San Juan Bautista. When we hire somebody for 100,000 or 130, that's what I see.
Mhm.
And that could be well spent for somebody else. A senior citizen for their rent, a homeless person to house them somewhere. That's what I'm saying, but that's just me.
Yeah, I think those are valid comments, and before we execute the program, we'll develop the program, we'll present it to city council, and then people have an opportunity to weigh in on what that program looks like, including the issues, I'm sure, that you're mentioning.
Commissioner Maderos, what time did he come in, Norma, to the meeting?
6:43 PM, right when Brian started this item.
Okay, okay. David, do you have any comments on this?
No, other than the fact that I think it's welcomed on my part. I mean, it's
Yeah.
great that we're having this program available to us. And I think it's a very timely time, being that we're going to go out to these ADUs as the commission put together, I believe, a plan to get accountability for what we have here in town. And I was thinking this is a great way to, when we do something like that, that we have funds available or a program available to assist where we can. If we're going to do any, reaching out to ADU accessory units that we have in town. I think it's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioner. Well, with that, on this meeting, that brings us to comments. Brian, do you have any comments about this meeting? Are you done with the 6C? Okay.
Yes, I'm finished with that,
You have not any?
and I appreciate your comments.
No, I'm not putting it, I just.
No, for
I
sure.
want
Yeah.
to help the city of San Juan, that's why I'm on here, not. And I just see money.
Chair, can you lean into the mic?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
They're so finicky.
Vice Chair Morris Lopez, do you have any more comments on this?
I think just in general, the comment is that I think looks like a very extremely versatile program, a lot of money. But I kind of see that with Brian, this is a lot of work. I mean, there's a lot of monitoring the application. You know, if you're dealing with homeowners, you're talking about people's mortgages, their bank notes. It's very involved. I'm glad I'm not on that end. But I think it's going to take some expertise, and sorry to disagree with you, Chair Delgado, but I think it's going to take some time to really work through this and make sure that it's being monitored, applications being processed, there's follow through on it. We just don't get a pot of money and just dole it out. It's pretty complex. My other comment is that I did go to training. The last meeting we had was the first Tuesday in October. That following Friday, I was privileged enough to go to another second training by I forget the title. Help me out here, somebody. Commissioner Maderos, I know you've gone. It's the California League of Cities, I believe, up in the city of Cupertino. It was a kind of a little bit of repeat of what I learned in March about all of the Senate bills that we're dealing now with: affordable housing, ADUs, CEQA, just really, how to communicate with each other, how to, implement this. But then there's very big concern about the cities, being told by the state that we must grow, and we must grow by this amount of numbers and by this time. And people had real concerns that were there with the drought. I mean, we all know that we're in a drought. It's, so that was a big concern, a lack of space, all big cities, small cities. But I have to say that when we go as San Juan Bautista, we're kind of at a disadvantage because we are such a unique city. I mean, I think of us as a village, but we are a city. So their issues are not like ours. So I tried to get what I can from them, but it was very informative and I was happy to go. And that's basically what I did, my comments in my addition. So, okay, thank you.
Commissioner Tony Korea, do you have any comments concerning on anything? Closing.
No,
this up?
no, none at all. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Maderos, do you have any comments on anything that you got to jump in onto?
No, not really, but just to follow up on what Commissioner Morris talked about. Yeah, I think the uniqueness of San Juan Bautista as far as who we are, I think that's one of the things we need to celebrate. I think we need to display. We need to go forward with, no matter what we do, to let everybody know what brand we are when it comes to our uniqueness. In that way, we have to learn as much as we can about all these programs that are coming down to us from the state. And I feel confident that our staff, administration, and what have you, will look into that and get back with us and make sure that we, as a unique community, are able to grow in a sensible, responsible way, regardless of how many crises there are out there when it comes to housing crisis and what have you, and where we need to go with as far as growth goes. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the city working with the planning commission and city council, whatever it takes to we need to get the message out there for us as a community, as a town, as a city, to say this is who we are. And if we're going to grow, this is the direction we're going in. And it meets all requirements when it comes to state, county, LAFCO, you name it. We're going to work on this to stay, to be the kind of town that we want to be and grow. And I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Commissioner Maderos. First of all, I'd like to thank you for coming and presenting. I like the ideals that you have. I agree with you on the roundabout. I do. I told them they were going to hit that side, but you know, I'm a Class B driver. What do I know? Yeah, and we need to, like Commissioner Morris Lopez and David said, Commissioner Madero said, we are a unique town and we like to go San Juan time, but sometimes we have to pick up the pace. I really am glad about this ADU that you found, Brian. Thank you for that. Thank you for keeping us apprised with this, and this will help a lot of the older ADUs that are not in compliance, speed compliance. Like I said, I looked at a property that had a garage and they cut it in half and they had somebody living in it without plumbing, water, electricity, and maybe they can help that person if they purchase it. Great meeting, great. I like the slides included on there, Brian. Thank you for that. Jackie Morris Lopez, Commissioner, thank you for your input. Thank you for your input. Commissioner Correa, Commissioner Maderos, and everybody that's on live in Facebook and in Zoom, because without you, we don't know. You guys need to tell me anything, email me. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and you need my number, just ask Brian so I know what we need to change and what we need to do, and your opinions on the agendas. I have no problem you guys calling me. Brian, do you have any comments?
No, that's good. Happy to be able to present the information items this evening.
Thank
And
you.
let's not forget November 10th, 6 o'clock for the special meeting.
Correct.
With that, could I have someone make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting tonight on November 1st, Tuesday, 2022 of the Planning Commission.
Second the motion.
Can we take a roll call, Norma, please? Norma, can we take a roll call?
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner Correa,
Yes.
Chair Delgado,
Yes.
Commissioner Maderos.
I don't know if I should abstain because I came in late, so
It's a motion
I'll
to
say
adjourn.
yes I'll say yes if it's counted, if it can be counted.
Yes, it can be counted. Thank you.
Okay.
Vice Chair Morris Lopez,
Yes.
motion passes unanimously.
We are adjourned.
And note for the record,
Aye.
the meeting has formally adjourned at 7:08 PM.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Norma.
Thank you.
For yourself. Thank you, Norma.
Yeah.